Welcome to the Long Run, episode 3. Third time's the charmer, so let's see how we go. Anyway, it's been a while. What's coming up in 2025? Well, the current plan is Canberra Marathon in early-ish April, then the Sydney Half Marathon, and then finally in November next year, the Queenstown Marathon over the ditch in New Zealand. Now, the big concern with all of these is probably with Queenstown. I had planned to do it a couple of years ago, but didn't get around to it. So we're going over there again this year. It's meant to be the most scenically beautiful marathon in the world. Also, the advertising tells me. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been to Queenstown before. It's an absolutely magnificent place. So I'm really looking forward to the marathon. My only concern is, even though it's on the cusp of New Zealand's summer, most years when I check the temperature, the starting temperature at the Queenstown Marathon is something like 2 degrees Celsius, which is sort of what the Sydney Marathon was like this year. And believe you me, it is cold. So I'm not looking forward to that freezing. I'll probably be running in woolly jumper or something. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so that's 2025. What's happened since last time we spoke? Well, for one, Sydney is now an official World Marathon Major. So that's very exciting news for the city of Sydney and for marathon running in Australia. This year's Sydney Marathon was the biggest marathon ever run in Australia, and it looks set to get bigger each year as we go forward. What it does mean is that all of those 6-star finishes for the marathon, there's people who've run New York, Berlin, etc., and have got the special medal with 16. Well, it's all out of date now, and you've got to run in Sydney just to get a 7-star. And, they are talking about adding more as time goes on, so it'll just keep going. You'll keep having to travel the world to keep up with what's required to be a all-star finisher for the marathon majors. The other big thing that happened, there's been a few marathons that ran since the Sydney Marathon, but the biggest, of course, was New York, which was reportedly the biggest marathon in history. So I've bunged some stats on the longrun.run website, where you can go and see how you would have performed in New York compared to wherever you've run elsewhere. So that might be interesting. Take a look, check it out, thelongrun.run. Finally, shoes. Yep, let's get back to shoes. I want to say first, Black Friday was a big disappointment for me. I was looking around particularly for a couple of types of shoes, and I did manage to get hold of them, but most places that were sending me junk mail about the specials you could get, they were things like, oh yeah, here's the shoe you want, in size 2 or something ridiculous that nobody would ever need. So the only shoes available seemed to be those ones no one could actually fit into. Nonetheless, in the end, I managed to get the 2 shoes that I was after. Let me grab them. All right, let me start with this one. This is the Brooks, what is it? Brooks Glycerin Max. Okay, it says there on the tongue. A lot of talk about this on the on YouTube, on the various running channels. It's not a super light shoe. It's not a super fast shoe. It's actually pretty chunky, pretty heavy, and still it's pretty cushioned. So it's very plush. And for me, that's an appealing thing. But I do find a couple of downsides with it. I've taken it out for a few runs. One is it's very thick, especially around this section around your heel. And it's so thick that I find it's not so bad running in it, but just walking in it is quite irritating. It's really annoying so I'm not sure yet how much use it's going to end up getting. Maybe it'll improve as time goes on. The other downside is it's quite a hot shoe to run in. We're in summer here in Sydney. We're getting temperatures in the 30s, and sorry for you folks, I'll put that down the bottom in Fahrenheit, but it is quite warm. And these shoes, you feel the warmth, you feel how hot they are. So I'm not sure how much they'll get used, at least until summer's over. Now, the other shoes I was after were the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. I had the good fortune of popping up to the Roselle Run Club earlier this year and getting to go for a 5K run in these when they were released. And I thought they were a strong possibility for a marathon shoe for me. They're nice and light. They're very thin and aerated uppers, so they're cool, and they aren't quite as soft and squishy as my New Balance SC Elite version 3, which I think is just going a little bit too far in how soft they are because, when you're running down hills or something, you do bottom out, or I bottom out in them. These ones have a nice soft landing, but there's enough heel stiffness and firmness to stop them bottoming out. So you feel a bit better protected. They're really quite stiff, so you get a lot of bounce back. They do have the carbon plate, so I'm really looking for. I've done probably 20 or 30 Ks in these so far, but I'm looking forward to doing quite a bit more and potentially doing the Canberra Marathon in a pair of these. So that's it for now. Until next time, which the rate I make videos is probably sometime in 2025. I'll see you out there. Got to run.